We are back to the action on the hardwood inside TD Garden in Boston. It is game one of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Celtics and the Pacers. And the story for Boston throughout this postseason run has been dominance when they have won games and what the odds makers expect entering a game. Boston has been at least a 7.5-point favorite in all 10 of their playoff contests. Tonight, it's 10-2. Double digits in favor of the Seas with a total at 221.5. What do the numbers, DRS, as we see them pregame, tell you about what we can expect for the opening game of the Eastern Conference Finals?
I think we get points, and also it's telling you that this is supposed to be an easy Celtics victory. Now, also in the past, game one in the Celtics building in round number one, game one in the Celtics building in round number two have been nice victories for the Boston Celtics. It's game number two, Ben, that maybe we should be watching at. But this is always a tricky environment because we know the Boston Celtics will be rested and ready. But what are we actually getting out of the Pacers? Two things can happen in this environment, which is always tough to work. And these aren't X's and O's, but we don't know officially how the Pacers are going to come out in this game. Are they getting that game 7 jump? Excited, got that victory. Momentum is on their side as they go in and try to upset the Celtics in round number one. Or is it, whew, man, that was a nice little comeback to finally beat the Knicks in an exciting, energized environment at Madison Square Garden. And now we got to stay on the road here and take on the Boston Celtics because that could mean a 15 to 20-point blowout or the Pacers get that bump. That's why I'm staying away here from the side itself. But the one thing I do know, the Pacers can score. They don't play any defense. The Celtics can score. We'll see what their defense has. But as you pointed out earlier in the show, that 115, I guess, around that price point here of the team total for the Celtics, that's really what I like the best here. But also, I do think the Pacers will be able to score, and I like the over 221 here. And also, it gets back to the point, Ben, I make so many times. Overs for me earlier in series, unders as the series gets underway.
For sure. We often see the highest total in a series in the opening game, and then the market resets itself night by night throughout a playoff series. 221 and a hook, the highest number we have seen for Indiana since the second game of their series against Milwaukee, one of the higher numbers for Boston in this postseason. Now, I agree with the idea of momentum carrying over from just 2 days ago inside Madison Square Garden. Not a far trip for Indiana from New York to Boston, but they remain on the road. I think that offense is there. Not sure what it means for the side. We have seen Indiana go over in 8 of their 13 playoff games. Boston over in 4 of the 6 inside TD Garden, where the Celtics have been booked as at least a 13-point home favorite in all 6 of the playoff games in Beantown. Now, Indiana on the road, not great. In fact, that was one of the stories of the series against the New York Knicks a round ago. The first team to win on the road was in Game 7 when the Pacers were victorious in MSG. Indiana just 2-5 straight up away from Indianapolis throughout this postseason. 3-4 against the spread, booked as a dog in 5 of the 7 road games they played. Again, for Boston, 8-2 straight up in this playoff run. 7 of the 8 victories by at least 13 points. 6 of those 8 they have covered the number, and they have been booked as a favorite of at least a 7.5-point number in all 10 games. If you were going to highlight, Donnie, you think we see some points out of the Celtics. 115 and a hook is their team total. Who does the scoring for Boston to push us over that number?
I really think Tatum's going to have a carte blanche out there on the court tonight. I really think he's going to probably shoot close to 20 times, which means he'll get to the free throw line, knock down a couple three-point shots. He should be able to get over his 29.5. But also, when we take a look at these spreads, you don't anticipate blowouts, Ben, in the NBA when it's like a 2.5 3-point spread. Hey, these guys will play all the way through. And sometimes they still play all the way through in 20 to 25-point games right up to the final 2 minutes. But it always has me looking towards those bench directions, and I still want to try to take advantage of Al Horford. 1.5 3-point shots. It is expensive at minus 142, but I do think he's going to shoot at least 5 3-point shots, which means they'll be wide open. He can knock down 2 of those. But the guys that always creep into my mind when I think this game might get out of hand are the guys like Peyton Pritchard. His 3-point prop's 1.5, but you would also take a look at his points prop. He's been known to shoot double-digit attempts from the floor when he gets that second half where it's like, hey, we're up 15 to 20 points. We're not going to have Tatum out here and Brown wasting minutes and getting injured early in a series. He'll get that extended run. So it's really the B players for the Celtics that I really want to focus on tonight.
We'll talk Pacers props, series outlook, and give you a best bet. as we round out our show in these 3 hours on a Tuesday on the early line. Up next, Game 1 tonight of the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA playoffs inside Boston. It's the Celtics and the Pacers, with Boston booked as a 10-point home favorite, a total currently with an over-under of 221 and a half. We looked at Boston and who might provide that offensive production against an Indiana team that likes to play up-tempo, but maybe not the best on the defensive side of the floor. If Indiana, DRS, is going to keep this game within striking distance, who are you looking at on the Pacers side?
It's got to be Siakam. Like, Siakam's the go-to guy. He's going to be able to get buckets on the low block there. Not really, I want to say, a true shot blocker. Porzingis out there certainly could change shots, but he's not going to play. Now, Horford is a good defender, but certainly not a shot blocker. I think Siakam is the guy that you can lean on. If we're looking at secondary options, TJ McConnell is always fun off the bench. He's going to play 20-plus minutes and probably shoot close to 10 times in a game. You see his assist prop there on that graphic at 4.5. I think he gets 5 assists. Why? Because I think we're going to get a lot of scoring tonight from both sides. But if you're trying to take a look at one of those B players outside of like a Siakam or a Halliburton or a Turner, I take a look at Nesmith. Last 3 games here, 28 minutes, 31 minutes, and 28 minutes. So you know he's going to get close to 30 minutes. But also, you hear me talk about this so many times, Ben. Ride the hot hand. No better performance in game number 7 from an efficiency standpoint than Nesmith. 19 points, 8 of 8 from the floor, which included 2 of 2 from three-point land under those 28 minutes. You take a look at the FanDuel Sportsbook today for Nesmith, 9.5 points is his prop. I think he can get the double digits here. So if you're looking for somebody outside of those top guys, Nesmith for me tonight for Indy.
I almost lean under Tyrese Halliburton's 18.5 points prop. I think JY made a great point about the matchups that we are going to see develop in this series. And Drew Holiday, the best defender for Boston, probably starting off on Tyrese Halliburton, who has been slow to start in these series so far throughout both to reach this point of the Eastern Conference Finals. Miles Turner's 3-point prop, 1.5. The over has the heavy juice. I would lean that way. And I also like the secondary look. Not going to go TJ McConnell, although I did bet his prop in Game 7. Andrew Nembhard has had a sensational first playoff run for Indiana. Points prop tonight, 10.5. He has been over that number in 10 of the 13 games the Pacers have played so far throughout this postseason. I do believe he is that secondary option outside of Pascal Siakam, outside of Tyrese Halliburton from that guard position. Pascal Siakam, by the way, 20-plus in 3 straight, but the points prop is 20 and a hook. So, DRS, one final point I just want to make about this series overall. We showed you the series odds in the outlook earlier. For this series, in the total games component, to go 5, it's plus 140. The series games over-under is 5.5, and the under has the hefty juice at minus 185. What we are saying here is what we saw in the first 2 rounds for the Celtics. A gentleman's sweep, winning in 5 games. If you think that is the case and you think it ends in 5, more than likely it's going to be Boston winning in 5, not Indiana pulling a dramatic upset in winning this series in 5 games. Boston in 5 is a better number than plus 140. It's plus 155. Thought I'd just try to give a little value before game number 1 gets started tonight inside TD Garden.